Hey everybody, my name is Tarek and I'm really excited to be here with you to talk to you about giving back during coronavirus. And I'm very lucky to be joined with my teammate, Karen. Hey Karen, can you see us?
Hi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello. And we are going to spend the next half hour with each of you that are here and get prepared because we're hoping that this session will be interactive, where all of us will have a chance to get to know each other. So we're going to start off with some icebreakers, and I'm going to have Karen kindly lead that section. Then we're going to do a bit of an introduction about Nomads Giving Back, about what our cause is all about, our vision, our mission, our events, and how we're trying to make a difference. And then Karen's going to lead a section all about different ways of giving back, from advocacy to volunteering to fundraising efforts, using nice illustrations to show examples. And then that's where we're going to have another open discussion. So get prepared. We'd love to learn more about the ideas that you have, maybe some efforts you're already involved in giving back, or what questions you might have. And it's a great opportunity to exchange ideas, and we could all leave the call better informed from the collective knowledge base that we share. And then we'll close out at the end with specific calls to action on how we could potentially help each other give back. So without further ado, I'd like to reintroduce my teammate, Karen.
So hi everyone. Thank you for joining us here. I would love to invite all of you to turn on your video if you feel comfortable, as we would love to see your beautiful faces and share this lovely interactive session with you. But if you don't feel comfortable, then please, it's okay to leave them off. But we would love to just take a moment while people are joining to introduce each other. So I'm going to call on you. I'm going to try this out. If you don't feel comfortable, please write anything in the chat when I ask you a question. But I'm going to call on you and unmute yourself and feel free to share your name, where you're joining us from, and which community in the world, which place in the world that you'd like to give back to. So, I'm Karen, as I've said already. I am joining from Aberdeen in Scotland. And actually, the community and place I would love to give back to is Playa del Carmen in Mexico, because that's where I spent most of my winter. A lot of my loved ones stay there, and it's a community that I'm really, really connected to. So I would love to give back to there. Is it Ichi? Iki? Sorry, I'm not sure about your pronunciation of your name. Can you introduce
Itchy.
yourself? Ichi.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Hi, Tarek. My name's
Hello.
Ichi. I'm living in Bali. I'm originally from Japan, and I'm actually also representing Tropical Nomad co-working space over there.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great that what you guys are going to speak about. I think that we all kind of now feel that it's so important that we have to, take how should I say? I mean, we have to take a step forward and start doing something. And I think I'd love to hear more from you about your ideas. Thanks.
Yeah, well, that's what we're here for. Thank you so much for sharing, Ichi. And let's see if we can get someone else to also share. Bob, are you on? I can't see if you've muted yourself or you're on. Not sure. Let's see if Light, I can see you're on. Can you hear me? Would you like to introduce yourself? I'm checking whether it doesn't look like he's on mute, but we'll keep moving around and see who we can get to introduce yourself. If you want to introduce yourself on the chat while we're going around everyone and you don't feel comfortable sharing via voice or via video, then that's okay too. I can see Lena on the phone. Can you introduce yourself, Lena? Perhaps we have some sound issues on a few of these. Okay. Gleb, are you willing to unmute yourself and introduce yourself to this little group that we have here to talk about giving back? If not, feel free to drop your name and where you're from in the chat box.
I think we can just keep
Yeah,
going,
I think
and then
if anyone at any point just wants to unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and join in the conversation, feel free. We wanted to try a little icebreaker so we could get to know each other a bit more. But why don't we kick off, Tarek, and people can start to get involved in the conversation as we go. Does that sound good?
Sure, let's do it. So this part of the discussion, we'd like to spend a few minutes just telling you more about Nomads Giving Back. We are a social enterprise comprised of around 35 amazing team members all over the world. And in addition to that, 25 ambassadors as well that are helping to advocate for our mission. And what we are all about is, our vision is to inform, inspire, and empower you, everyone, to give back to the communities we call home away from home. We call it nomads because a lot of the core niche of the people that we tend to try to inspire to give back are the nomads, the digital nomads, but it also includes expats and travelers and even locals. We've had so many locals at our events that say, you know, I lived here all my life and I never knew exactly about this cause or about this volunteering opportunity. So what we've been doing is serving as a bridge between foreigners and locals, trying to help create those connections all around impact. And the way we've been doing this primarily is by hosting close to 60 events now in just a year and a half of being born. Most of these events, the 60, have been in Bali and Medellin, Colombia, my two favorite places where I spent my time in the last year and a half. But we've had events in 8 other countries. And the last few have been online, given the phase that we're in. So with that, I just wanted to share that, you know, our hearts go out to those who are suffering, especially the most during this unfortunate, stressful time around the world with the pandemic, and deep appreciation for those on the front line, like our doctors and nurses and people that are helping to keep the economy running and taking care of the sick. So thanks for everyone doing that effort. And with that, we'd love to get a little bit more into the nuts and bolts of some specific aspects of how we like to think about structuring how to give back. So Karen's going to talk to you about fundraising, volunteering, and advocacy.
Yeah. So the way we like to structure or think about giving back is there's 3 main forms of giving back. And I'm going to talk through them briefly. So, because then we want to facilitate this kind of discussion. So advocacy is one of the main ways that we think about giving back. And it's probably one of the most simple, which is basically to use your voice to support social good, to actually stand by something, be an example for something, and say that you're an advocate for that cause or that movement. So the best way to do this, or the tips that we have for doing this, is to really pick something that you're passionate about and that you know you're going to want to stay current on. Because if you're an advocate for something, you don't want to necessarily not have all the facts or the latest information. That's not to say you can't be an advocate for something if you don't always follow the news. You're usually going to be, it's usually going to be very easy for you to be an advocate of something that you're passionate about. So that's the best causes to select. So great examples of this that we've seen come up during this time and during the coronavirus is the stay-at-home movement. Like, you've seen it all over Instagram. You'll see the little stay home, or in casa if you're, I always see it in Spanish because a lot of my friends are from Mexico, as I said. And just that's everyone really standing up for this cause and protecting the greater good for staying at home. And I really love that movement. It's so simple, but so effective at the same time. Another one is one that we know to be called the kindness pandemic. And this one is just a Facebook group, a community that shares a story of kindness every day. And that's because obviously with everything that's going on, there can be a little bit of negativity that clouds everything. So this has been set up in a way to really bring a little bit of positive light into the world and share that little bit of kindness, a story of kindness from somewhere in the world, to bring that positivity to everyone. So we love that. Then we have the one that everybody knows about, so fundraising. Like, we've done so many fundraising events. Like, I've done them personally before I even joined Nomads Giving Back, where maybe you get sponsored for a run and you raise funds for a particular cause that's important to you. So you'll have seen fundraising all over the world, but it changes slightly when we move into this virtual space, when we move into the world with coronavirus. But we've seen some amazing efforts during this time. So some of our tips for fundraising is really just to keep it simple. Be transparent about what you're doing, what the cause is, and be accountable to the people that donate to your fund. Let them be part of your journey, bring them into your space, give them updates about what you're doing, and celebrate with them when you raise the money and when you give back to that cause. That can be really, really powerful to help the people that donate and become part of your story feel like they've also given back as you've been generating that goodwill around the world. One of our favorites is one close to our heart in Bali. Like, Tarek's based in Bali at the moment, and that's one of our big hubs as Nomads Giving Back, is Stella's Child, where they do raise money, and we do donate, or we don't personally donate. We help raise awareness so that people can donate to this fund, but they also work in a skill sharing aspect where people can volunteer their skills to help educate the children and the young adults of Bali, to give them the skills that they need to really get to other professions and things in the world that they may not have been able to enter without that support. So we love that organization for that. And one of the great sites that we will say for fundraising is crowdfunding. There's obviously a lot of different fundraising websites out there, but there's amazing blog resources on the crowdfunding website that can really help you do the best fundraising campaign that you've ever wanted to do. And the other thing that I said I would talk about, my brain's not functioning fully, is volunteering, which I think a lot of people think of immediately when it comes to giving back. They think volunteering is the only way to give back. And that can seem really difficult right now, because you know, social distancing and not actually being able to go and physically help somebody or go and physically go to a big event that's volunteering for a particular cause, it might seem like something that's completely out of the question. But we have seen some amazing volunteering things happen during this time that really signals that as humans, we love to connect and we love to grow communities around us. So one of them is something called Quarantine Chat, where you can basically join a channel on your phone. You can dial in and you can have a quarantine conversation with someone across the world about, you know, just to keep them uplifted and yourself uplifted as well. I did it the other day and the phone just randomly rang, and I spoke to a guy in India and found out all about how he was getting on in lockdown and how things were in India. That was amazing for me because I just came back from India just before this. So it was really good for me, and I think it picked him up during the day too. One of the causes we have in Bali that we support is C19 Solidarity, which really, they're basically trying to use volunteering to help anyone that they can. Ichi, as you'll know, like, and Tarek, like the people of Bali, sometimes there's reliance a little bit on tourism, and there's a lot of people that have maybe lost their income at this point in time. So it's really about supporting the community around us and being there together to help out. So we're trying to support their cause at the same time. So that's a really, really brief summary of the three main ways that we consider giving back from Nomads Giving Back. And those are a few of the examples that we know of and that we really like to talk about. What we'd like to do now, if we can, is open up a little bit of a discussion, and I'll get Tarek involved in this too, on ways that you've thought about of giving back during this time, and whether or not there's like an inspirational story or a cause or just one person that's done something that's really inspired you during this time that you maybe never would have thought of, or a way that you're thinking of giving back. So feel free to either drop things in the chat box or unmute yourself, join in the conversation, and we'll start easily, and I'll ask Tarek to give a little bit of an idea of, well, what's your favorite inspiring story, I guess, from this time during coronavirus for giving back. You're on mute.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Karen, for that wonderful overview on our three buckets of giving back: advocacy, volunteering, and fundraising. I feel that, you know, the world's a big place, and the pandemic is a big issue. I mean, once in a century type of situation. So there's so much to think about. And I think one of the things I often can relate to is this concept of option paralysis. You know, when there's just too many things to choose from, it's so overwhelming. There's so many problems, there's so many causes, there's so many ways. And plus being stuck at home for most of us, what can we do? And I think the important thing is just baby steps. You know, just the first thing you can do, like before you can actually feel compelled to give back and feel empowered, you have to know, you know, why you should give back. Like, what are the issues out there? Who's struggling? Why are they struggling? What changed for who? And there's just so many situations out there that are unfolding day by day, going unnoticed. So I think part of it is just getting inspired, and then also the what. You know, what are the best causes to partner up with? If you want to do fundraising, like one of my teammates, Ree, wants to donate to a cause, and she reached out to me for some, like, my personal advice on which causes might be either more trustworthy, might be more aligning with their goals. So it's a process. And, you know, there's only so much we can cover in a half an hour. But what we love to do is help kind of tee up the process for each of you that are looking to go down that path, but also give you a platform to share the great work that you're all doing too, because we're all learning together. So I just wanted to throw in a few comments there. But Ichi, since you were the first guest to introduce yourself, I would love to hear more. Do you have any insights you'd like to share, or feedback, or questions?
Oh, yes. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing from Karen and Tarek from your experience. And it's what you guys are doing is very inspirational, and I really want to learn more from you guys. And from my part, what I'm doing is that I'm running a few businesses in Bali at the moment, and right now my focus is to help them, who some of them unfortunately due to the current economic situation, we actually had to close some of the venues, and so they are not really working anymore. So obviously, we had to find other ways to help them and help their family, because many of them are going back to their villages, and some of those existing aids are being coordinated through the village organizations. But what I heard is that not always those village organizations actually distributes the goods in a fair way. So therefore, what I thought was that why don't I support them from directly to their families. So we are sending rice, sending a lot of different kinds of food ingredients, and to their families first. So I've just started doing that since last week, and today we're also doing more. And what I feel is that this situation might actually be a very long-term thing for Bali, because it's a tourism-based economy, and currently there's no visibility on when the tourists can come back to Bali. So what I intend to do is to help them build the capacity to start to be self-sufficient. So the aid and all that is very important to for immediate needs, but I think if this is going to be a 3 or 4 month thing for Bali, what I want to do is that I want to start giving them many things that they can do in their village. For example, planting seeds and being self-sufficient in terms of vegetables and some food. There are some things that what we can do is that we can actually offer the seeds and also the small plants, so that they can start planting their gardens, and maybe perhaps we can do small, not just supporting themselves but supporting the community. Yeah, that's some things that I'm thinking right now. Because I also start kind of like, I feel that we have to start from what we can do. So in the future, I would like to also coordinate with the different agencies and different groups as well. Some things that I'm also thinking is that, yes, we have to help our community first, but also some of the animals. Many of the people who left Bali, they also left their dogs, the cats, and currently those street dogs and all that is left with no food. They are, unfortunately, some of the locals are also feeling that there are too many of them. So they poison them and to kill them, which is very shocking, but it's also the reality. We all kind of, fighting over small resources, and nobody can actually look after so many dogs that who became street dogs due to this situation. So we are coordinating and also thinking of supporting those groups that are helping to provide shelters and to also provide food for the dogs on the streets. Yeah. So that's a bit of sharing from me. Yeah, thank you.
That's amazing, Ichi. Thank you so much. Looks like you're doing some really great work. I would love to connect with you later on and see how we could hopefully support you in your efforts. Um, at a minimum, we'd like to at least raise awareness on our social media, where a lot of like-minded people want to get back, and a good chunk of them are in Bali. So let's stay in touch.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I see Takai, you joined us. Are you there, Takai? It looks like he's multitasking. Busted. And here's Tiff. Hello, Tiff. Thanks for joining.
Hello, hello.
We were just going around with this open discussion. We have 5 minutes left on the call, but if you want to share for a couple minutes any sort of things that you're doing to give back, or a cause you want to raise awareness, especially related to coronavirus, or if you just have any feedback you'd like to share.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. For me, it's been also really trying to tap into like what I can actually give, and my background's in social media. That's what I do for work, and so it's been really great to be able to lend my hand to campaigns like Now It's Giving Back, and also I was working with like the #StayHome campaign for a little while, because what I know is social, and it's really nice to be able to use my years of experience and stuff for a cause that actually matters. So that's been great. But I've seen like friends who've used both like their actual marketable skills and also even just like their side hobbies to turn into things. One of my friends just kind of sews on the side, but now has made like hundreds of masks that she's been sending around to essential workers across America, and also just for people who want them. And every mask that you purchase, also one gets donated and stuff like that. So that's been really cool. Like, we had no idea she could sew, and then suddenly she's like pumping out hundreds of masks every day. So it's been really nice to like tap into the skills that you do have and find ways that that's actually helpful in this situation, I think.
Yeah, it's so true. It's a really, really good point. Thanks for sharing, Tiff. We're so lucky to have you on our team. And Karen, would you like to make a couple more comments?
Well, actually, like, so Tiff's share about her friend that sews masks is just reminded me of how, like, there's so many of my friends that have started these either little businesses or started just sewing masks. Like, there's a co-living community in Tenerife actually that I used to work at, and they've been making their own masks, or and it's like almost like a community connection workshop that they're doing, because they're all stuck there together at the moment, but they're having like the most amazing lockdown, but they're making their own masks there, so that they don't have to take away from anyone else. And my friends in Mexico started a business, like just charging very little for masks, to help protect the community around them too. And I've just been so amazed by everyone's efforts in that area. Like, I didn't know any of my friends were talented at sewing or doing anything like that. So you just find all these amazing skills that people come out with during this this pandemic that we're living in at the moment. But yeah, it's really inspirational stuff, and I loved hearing from everyone today in this session about the different ways to give back, because each and every story I hear inspires me more to help raise awareness or help do something myself. So yeah, it's been great. So thank you for facilitating that discussion, guys, and for partaking and joining in.
Yes. I know we only have a couple minutes left, so I just want to also thank you, Karen, for contributing today and sharing your insights on giving back with the audience, and for all of you who have joined. I also just want to share that, to your last point about inspiring, like, that's what we're about. Our tagline is inspire yourself, inspire the world, because I feel like that's really what it comes down to, is things are going to be thrown our way, but having that mindset that we can make a difference individually and especially collectively, it changes everything. And the more that we get inspired, the more we can help others, and then the more we help others, it helps ourselves too. I really truly believe that we lift ourselves by lifting others. And in our final minute, I just want to make sure, for those of you who want to stay in touch, and especially Ichi, I would love to try to see how we can help you out. I put in the chat room, my email address is just Tarek@nomadsgivingback.com. Would love to hear from you. On social media, we're always advocating for causes, Nomads Giving Back and also .com. And we have these 2 Facebook groups. One's more focused on giving back, called Nomads Giving Back Global Tribe. And this Facebook group we started a couple months ago called Coronavirus Forum for Nomads and Remote Workers. And in there we have a couple thousand people that are sharing their personal insights. We provide accurate information that we find online from credible sources. And it's just an opportunity for people to connect that are looking to see how they can stay informed and be connected. So with that, on the dot, 3 o'clock sharp Bali time, I'd like to say thank you so much. Hope to stay in touch. And I'll hand it off to, I believe it's Dekai.